You have the little record sign?
That little blur popped up, recording in progress, and I clicked,
Nice.
got it.
Cool. Awesome. Here we go. So, do you still agree to consent of recording this podcast?
Yes, sir.
And do you still agree to the release of this podcast on various platforms?
Yes, sir.
All right, then here we go. Let's take a second. Welcome back, listeners. On today's episode of Blanco's Conversation, my guest is a young man about to go on a journey that very few people have, less than 1%. He's a family member of mine. I love him dearly, and I'm excited for him on his journey. We will also be talking about his decision to come out to his family about his sexuality and being biracial in a time in America where race seems to be a hot topic. Antwone, can you introduce yourself, please?
What's up, guys? My name is Antwone Ratliff, and I am in the progress of shipping out for the United States Air Force, and I will be a SEER specialist, one of the 6 different jobs that they have in the Special Warfare Department of the Air Force.
Awesome. Can you explain to our listeners what SEER is?
So SEER stands for Survival, Evasion, Rescue, and Escape. And we as SEER specialists are tasked with going through various amounts of field training, and we learn how to survive, evade, rescue, and escape different type of coastal environment, tropic environment, desert. We'll be in like the woods, and then the last leg of our training is actually Arctic. So we'll be in Alaska for about, I believe, 3 weeks.
Cold, man. Cold, man. You're from Florida. You're living in Florida, man. I don't know.
Well, but this is the thing. Like, I do not like the hot weather, so
okay.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
I choose cold too. People don't understand that. Like, I just hate being hot and muggy.
Same. Exactly. I would much rather layer up than have like, because you can layer up, but I mean, layering down, I mean, that's like, that's a no-no.
Yeah. I mean, they both suck. I tell people, like, whenever we go out to the field here and it's super cold or super hot, they both suck. But I don't know. I'll go with the cold, man. I go with the cold every time. Dude.
You and I both.
All right, man. So let's start off with it. First off, thank you for making that decision to serve our country.
Of course.
How do you take us on that road, man? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, young men and women, who are thinking about taking that. And what brought you to that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. So joining the military was something that I always wanted to do, even in high school, even after high school, but I never really had the guts to do it. And it's a huge commitment. It's intimidating, especially, I did have a situation where I did meet with a Navy recruiter. I took the practice ASVAB and I scored horribly on it because I get testing. Yeah, I get test anxiety, so I'm not the best test taker. And that was, I think I was a senior in high school. And so that was back in 2012, just to give you an idea of where we're at.
Right.
So I did horrible on it, and he was just like, oh, I think you need to study more. And I was just like, I kind of just got in my head, I got discouraged, and I was like, I never followed through with it. And then over the course of years, as I got older, more mature, it was still something that was in the back of my mind. And it actually wasn't until the passing of my grandfather, which your uncle, that I kind of decided that I really wanted more in life, and I wanted to see more of the world. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be a part of something that was more than myself. And what other better opportunity than joining the military? And also at that time as well, I was still in school and in the process of going for being a dentist, because that's something that I'm super passionate about. And it's still something that I will work towards, but I'm keeping the opportunities open with like my special warfare career, because, as we know, life is something that will take us on different paths and avenues than we didn't know that we were going to go down. So it's definitely an option, but I'm really intrigued on to see where my special warfare career will go. and that actually is another reason why I decided to go special warfare, was because I always felt like I was destined to do something like greater. Like I know joining the military is taking that initiative and taking that extra step, excuse me. But for me, um, it wasn't until I kind of got like a little insight of the special warfare realm where I
Mhm.
was like, wow, okay, I really think this is something that I could do. And then it wasn't until I did my research on SEER that I was like, wow, this is something that I'm gonna go for. And here I am, signed my contract, and I ship out September 21st.
Awesome, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So from people who don't know, man, so I want to break it down a little bit more. Like, if you ever watched a
of
movie
course.
where someone is taken prisoner and they have to survive, you're basically going to be the guy who trains those people, right? Is that the way I understand this? How to
Yeah,
how to survive in those situations?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's intense, man. I had a friend that I don't think he was an instructor, but I know he went through it. He just told me like it just changed his life, man. Like he thought he was a
Yeah,
tough dude. He said
yeah,
everybody breaks.
yep,
Everybody breaks, man. And,
yep.
and that's sort of the point of it. And I like what you said, like you want to be a part of something because, let's see. I joined the military in 1997.
Wow.
It's a long time ago, man. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember
what is
me
it?
leaving because you were like a young
No,
little kid at that point.
I was only 4.
Oh wow, Jesus, yeah, you were
Yeah,
small.
yeah,
But it was kind of the same thing. It was like, okay, what's going on around me here? I mean, you remember New York probably back in those days. It was just a
yeah,
wild, crazy place. And I felt like
yeah, of course.
if I stay there, it's gonna be bad. So let me just take the challenge, man. Go ahead and move on with my life. And
Exactly.
yeah. And you're joining a little bit older too, because I think I turned 21. Yeah,
Yeah,
21 when I was there. Yeah.
yeah, I'm 27, which is a little bit older, but at the
Mhm.
same time, like I'm a strong believer of like everything happens for a reason, and the timing is always happening for a reason. I think if I went in younger, I
Yeah.
didn't have the best mindset or the
Right.
best maturity,
Yeah.
than I do now.
That's your advantage, man. Believe it or not,
Yeah,
because you sort of like thought about it for a while. You sort of you prepared yourself mentally. You've have life experience. Man, when you get there, you're gonna meet these young guys and girls that are just
right. Yeah,
like what is wrong with you? They
yeah.
just haven't matured, man. They haven't grown up
Oh,
yet.
trust me. Yeah, trust me. I already have, because for special warfare, what you have to do to even qualify is you've got to take a pass test,
Hmm.
which is a physical stamina ability test, and that'll be made up of pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, mile and a half run, and depending on what special warfare job you're going for, it would also include a 500-meter swim. Now, all of these are timed. All of these, you have a minimum requirement that you have to meet,
Hmm.
and in order to even take the pass test, you go to what they have development, which is kind of, I like to explain to my friends, it's like CrossFit on crack. And it is
Crack kills.
intense. Yeah, yeah, don't do drugs, kids. But yeah, it's super intense. We meet at the Patrick Air Force Base here in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and we are doing everything from running, calisthenic workouts, buddy carries, farmer carries.
Hmm.
It's just super super intense. But all of these developments will help you get better with your past tests.
Yeah, they're preparing you for it. Yeah.
Right, 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 right. Exactly.
Yeah, if I remember in the Navy and now in the Army, all the like the special forces stuff, they would get people who would go kind of straight into it,
Hmm.
but those people usually failed, like high dropout rate. And
Yeah.
I think they did it so because if you try this program and you fail, well, now the
Hmm.
military or whatever branch gets to put you anywhere they want. That's sort of the contract. That's the deal.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
needs of the
Yeah.
Army or
Yeah.
the Navy or the Air Force. So I think that's the only reason
Yes.
why they did it. But most people usually kind of joined and they went through all these steps. It's sort of like step one, how'd you do there? Oh, okay. Step two. And it's sort of like,
Right. Right. Yeah. In
indoctrinated you in a
increments.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crawl, walk, run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. So when you go to basic, where's basic at for the Air Force?
Yes. So basic is going to be in San Antonio, Texas. Well, Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. Yeah. And then I'll be there roughly 2 months, 2.5 months. And then from there, I get sent to the special warfare base that's kind of down the street
Okay.
from Lackland.
Okay.
And then when you're there, you go through the selection process. And this is another like pre-qualification
Yeah.
uh, area that you're going through, right? So you've made it through, you pass the pass test, you get through basic, then you go to selections, and selections for SEER at least, it's a, I believe, 2 week or 19-day selection process where you do X amount of tasks that you are given each day. And depending on how well you do those tasks, and there's also a 4-mile ruck that you have to do in an hour. And depending on how well you can do in that ruck, and if you make it, then you get sent to Washington over in Spokane, the Fairchild Air Force Base. And that's when you start your field training for SEER.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
How long is the
yeah.
how long is the SEER school when you get up there to Spokane?
So SEER school is about 5.5 months. And yeah, and it's 17 stages.
17. Oh my God.
17. Yeah, yeah, yep,
That's
yep, yep.
crazy, man.
So not only will we be doing, various field training in the different types of environments that I had mentioned earlier, but we'll also be doing diving and free falling and combat training.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember when you messaged me, I know that you joined. I was back home when you messaged me about it. And I was really like happy. I
Yes.
said thanks and everything. And I think about a month later or something like that, you said that you were going SEER. And I was like, what? Like you just joined the
Yeah.
military, like chillax, man.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I've encountered people who are going into different branches or already in, and they're like, "Dude, that's crazy! Like you're going special warfare off the bat." And I'm
Yeah.
like, for me, it's like go hard or go home. Why
Right.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my motto. You know.
Yeah. I think that you sort of adapted that over the years. I noticed like I saw, by you posting stuff on social media, because I haven't seen you personally. I guess my mom
Yeah,
died. That was like the last
yeah.
time, I saw you.
Right, right, right.
But I can see your growth as far as your exercise, your commitment to your body. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So
Or
I
how did that
was
start?
so I was always a kid. I mean, I was a big kid. I was a 10-pound baby, right? So like right, fresh 10-pound baby. And I was always like an overweight kid. I had the nickname Gordo growing
Yeah,
up.
that's how I knew you.
For yeah, exactly. So um being in shape and so my fitness journey had started with me wanting to be in shape, right?
Mhm.
And I got a membership at the gym, and I started from the ground. Watch videos on the internet of other people doing various exercises. I worked out on machines for a long time because there was in the beginning of my fitness process, there was a long time where I was not comfortable and not confident enough to go even step onto the free weight side, like the dumbbells, the squat racks. Like I was just not comfortable in my personal physique yet, or feeling like I was strong enough to even step into that realm of the
Hmm.
gym. So for
So
me,
hold on, back it up. So, yeah, I knew you as Gordo, but I mean, you were just kind of like a cute, chubby kid. Did you get like
ah,
really overweight at a certain point, or how bad
no,
was
you
your
know what?
physique?
It wasn't bad. I wasn't severely overweight, but I think coming from a Hispanic family who has diabetes, high blood
Yeah.
pressure,
Oh yeah.
I saw where that brought my grandfather, and I just didn't want to be unhealthy when I
Mm,
got older. So for me, this was something that I wanted to continuously make a lifestyle change,
mm,
not more so a fad, but I wanted it to be a lifestyle change. Like this is something that I wanted to benefit my future and be the healthiest, strongest version of myself as I could be for the remaining of the time that I'm here on this earth, you know?
Yeah, I'm noticing a pattern with you, man. I mean, you know, your grandfather, my uncle. I'm noticing that
Yeah.
that had a big impact
Yeah.
on you, man,
Yeah,
in many
absolutely.
ways.
Yeah, I mean, for you know, many of you listeners who are out there, my grandfather was my father figure. So he and my grandmother pretty much raised me and my sister. So they were my parents. You know,
Mhm.
he was that strong male figure in my life who I really, as you guys can hear, I really, you know, took that and ran with it and made uh, drastic life changes with having him be a part of my life.
Yeah. So I think that's a good point for us to transition into that, because I think our family is very a lot of tough people, very
Yeah,
macho. How was that for
yeah.
you to come out in our
So
family, man?
it, it's funny because there was never a moment where I actually like came out, you know, like I
Mm,
never said, hey guys, this is my sexuality, you
right.
know, do you accept me? Or I never had that coming out
Oh,
moment
okay.
with family. I feel like they everyone embraced me for who I was as a
Uh-huh.
person, and we just kind of rolled with it, and it worked. It works.
So you
Yeah,
thought people just kind of knew before? Let's
possibly.
take it before that. When did you know?
Oh, I knew at a very young age.
Okay.
Like I want to say, man,
Before puberty?
I rem yeah, before puberty
Okay.
for sure. And then I remember back in like fifth grade having my first crush.
Mm,
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
cringy.
Was it difficult for you? Like, just I guess what I'm asking is, you know, you grew up in a different time where things were uh, way more acceptable. You know what I
Right,
mean? But I think
right.
it's still not like 100%. Like I said, I mean, our family, I don't think is sexist or racist or anything like that.
No,
But
not.
definitely very like tough, very macho. Did you have any like worries about that coming out?
I didn't necessarily have worries about coming out in that aspect of having our family be so tough and so macho. I think I was just, I think I never like came out because I was such an awkward person and I didn't like having those awkward conversations because it was like that confrontation of just like pure awkwardness for me. So I kind of
Okay.
just skated by. I kind of just skated by and just like let the chips fall where they fell. And, you know,
Right.
whatever happened, if I decided to bring a guy over who I was seeing, I did. And
And no one said
it
anything?
just, no, no. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember I found out, trying to remember how I found out. I think I saw a post of yours or something with like your
Probably.
boyfriend
Yeah.
or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. So Antoine's
Yeah.
gay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, to correct you, I'm actually not gay.
Okay.
So I, and like, I don't really care to label myself or
Right.
anything like that. But if I do have to label myself, I actually just like discovered this about a year ago. I would say that I'm pansexual.
Okay. Can you explain what that is for listeners?
Yeah, so someone who is pansexual means that you appreciate and you like people of all sexes, whether that's male, female, um, male transitioned into women, and women transitioned into men.
So everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would think that you're saying you're more about just the individual and you're not looking at the
right. For
anything
me,
else.
I'm exactly like for me, if the chemistry is there, I'm running with it. You know,
Right.
it's all about the chemistry, not necessarily what sexual organ you have.
Right. Do you
Yeah.
notice that you have like I guess like a preference or something that you sort of lean to
Mm,
more heavily? Or has it been pretty
I
diverse?
I would say for the longest it was I leaned more towards men, and then like as I got older and like um I don't know, it's just everyone, just
Mm,
love. you know, just loving everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are things like that in California though? Is things pretty open? I'm sorry, not California, Florida. Things
I was
pretty
about to
open?
say, I was like, I'm not in California. Florida, man,
Florida's a weird place, man. It's a weird place, man.
Florida is like, if you watch the news and you see something that's sketchy, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
man, you know, threw like an alligator into a Wendy's, that's
Yeah, yeah,
probably
yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
That's the kind
Some
of,
weird shit.
that's the kind of stuff we have here. But you know, I work and live in downtown Antwone, which is a very conservative Republican place in
Mm-hmm.
Florida.
Yeah, man.
And I've never experienced any sort of like issues with my gender there, but definitely my race, the
Okay.
color of my skin, for sure. You know, I'm like a triple threat, right? Like, I'm what they see as homosexual. I'm a person of color, and I got tattoos. So they're
Mm.
just like, whoa, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely something that I've dealt with a lot here in Florida, especially like in a Republican conservative area.
Uh-huh.
And it bothered me for the longest time. And then it just got, especially when Trump was president, because it was like all cards were off the table, like they just didn't care, like, you know. And I'm not going to get political on your podcast, but
Well, that's
I will
fine.
say, like, I will say that it was tough. You know, it was tough for a while, and I feel like even now it's still tough because everyone, it's, you know, we're fresh still under a new presidency,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that
COVID.
are COVID, and the people that are here are just like very old school,
Mm-hmm.
white country people. And I mean, I try my best to be nice to everyone, but if you are not nice to me, you'll learn really quick that I can be a
Yeah.
not so nice person as well.
Yeah. So there's people even in our family who supported Trump, man. How did you feel about that?
Who?
I'm not gonna mention names on the podcast, but there's
well,
people. There's people who
well, that's
who lean very Republican, more
um
conservative too.
I mean, I can put my opinion into um me knowing that there was people of the Hispanic community, of the Black
A
community,
lot,
of the
dude.
gay
In
community
Florida.
who supported him, and it was just like, wow, y'all are
Yeah.
really dumb.
All right.
That's it. Just that's it. Like, I
So why'd
mean,
they do it, man? What do you think? What's your opinion? Why'd they support him?
my opinion could the only thing that I can think of is more of like a religious standpoint from it,
I think
right?
that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Right, because the Republican Party is very conservative, very man should marry a woman kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
religious
I got you.
views, you know? So I can see that that's where their political ally stood.
So basically, their whole the whole way of seeing the politics thing is it's like a single issue voter. As long as you're on my side on this single issue,
Right,
forget
right,
everything else. Throw
right,
it all
right.
out. Yeah.
And believe it or not, a lot of Hispanics are racist as well.
Yeah. Every race is
Racist. I'm
racist.
right, right,
I don't buy
right,
that.
right,
Oh, this certain
right, right,
race or whatever can't be
right.
racist.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody's racist,
yeah.
man.
Exactly. And I was just going to correct myself, but that was too, I believe, another contributing factor, you know, like they're just on this rampage of, okay, they see this man who is speaking everything that they want to say, but they don't have the courage to say. And they're
That's
like, all right.
to me, that's you just hit it. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that
Yeah.
there's something going on with America where
Yeah,
people don't feel
absolutely.
open to express their point of views, and that's really what
Right.
America is supposed to be about, man. It's the
Right.
First Amendment, like the freedom of speech. You don't have to like what people say. Like, I don't think people, honestly, I get a lot of slack for this. I don't think you
Right.
should lose your job because your views are racist or sexist. I think that's such a negative thing to do, because
I agree.
if a person, let's just say a guy, his name is Joe, and Joe's a racist, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Joe says, blank, 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 some racist stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we take Joe's job away from him. Joe
Mm-hmm.
becomes a very angry person now.
Mm-hmm.
Joe knows that he has to keep his views hidden. So now it's repression, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's being hit hard society because he doesn't have a job now, right? And that kind of stays
Right.
with you. Joe,
Right.
we just made Joe a worse racist. Where if we
Yep.
go, okay, Joe, I accept that's the way you feel. Please keep that to yourself, because we're working with people here of all different race. And as long as you get
Right.
along and do your job, you're fine.
Right.
Joe
Right.
will hear the other people from other races talking, get to know them and
Actions
stuff
speak
like that.
volume. Yep.
And those views, those negative views, will eventually probably erase from Joe's mind, because you have
Right.
to have that ability to think something and then put it out there into the world and find out whether that's correct or not. Maybe, oh shit, I was wrong about that. Not every black
Right.
person, not every Latino, not every Jewish person, you know what I mean? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
need to be
Right.
able to develop those thoughts and ideas and those feelings. And I think the way
Right.
we're doing it is just, it's not
I
helping the
agree.
situation now.
I agree.
Sorry, I had to get up my
I can.
soapbox about that, man.
No,
I
no,
hate
no,
that.
no,
I
no.
hate that thing, man.
Preach. Yeah, it's something that's huge, and it's going on, and I feel like it's getting out of control.
Yeah, we got like that cancel culture. It's just,
Yep.
man, so
Yep.
many different
Yep.
things, man. And
Yeah.
you're going into a great organization, man, because I feel like the military has helped more people stop their ignorant thoughts than any other.
Right.
Because, man, you're living right next to people, brothers and sisters, right on top of each other. Each other's lives are in each other's hands.
Right. Exactly.
I've met people. I met people who never saw a black person in their whole entire life until they joined the
Yep.
military, man.
Yeah.
And they had
Yep.
like
It's
racist
true.
views and stuff like that. But then all of that washes away, man, in time.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a world within a world that we're going into, that I'm
Yeah.
going into, like a lot of people are going to be going into this experience just like myself, experiencing so many new things, so many new cultures, mingling and networking with so many different people from all around the world.
Yeah. Watch, man.
It's global.
The people you're going to be closest with are going to be the people who are most different from you, man. That's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
To me, man.
Yeah.
Being
Trust
a
me,
young.
it's happening now. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember taking pictures, and back I had like that 90s, hip hop style when I first joined and stuff. And I would go out like to the bars and stuff like that. And I'd be next to like this country guy with the hat, the boots. You know what I mean? It was just, we were cool, man. It just, it was awesome who you connect with, man.
Exactly. Yep. It's all about those connections for sure.
Yeah, man. So again, I wanted the last thing to be that we talk about was, I know we're talking about race, but I feel like we're talking about it in a political sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, I feel like everything is kind of political, but I'm biracial. I'm mostly Puerto Rican. I'm like 3/4 Puerto Rican because my dad was half and half. But you're half Puerto Rican and half black, right?
Right. Correct.
What'd you see like that growing up through seeing the world through those lenses? How do you think that affected you?
Well, I'd say it never resonated or went anywhere, or like I never recognized that for the majority of my life because I lived in New York. And it wasn't until I moved to Florida where it was, oh, okay, I'm different. I'm different from all these other people.
Yeah.
These people are looking at me like I don't belong.
You're something other, right?
Right. And then I hit them. So from my personal experience, all they see is the color of my skin, right?
Yeah.
And then they see this color of my skin and they're like, okay, he's black, right? And then all of a sudden I speak Spanish to someone and they're like, wait, he speaks Spanish? He's both? What's going on? And then it becomes a huge confusion for them because on the outside I'm black, but then I'm also speaking Spanish. So I'd say from my personal experience, it never came through of being something that I recognized or I had an experience with until I moved to the South.
Yeah. How old were you
Yeah.
when you moved there?
I think 15 or 16.
Ooh, man, that's
Yeah. I was a freshman in high school when I started when I moved to Florida. So it was a huge culture shock coming from living in New York to New York is such a melting pot of cultures and diversity and etc. And then you move to Florida and it's just Caucasian people, country,
everything.
it
It's a
was
weird place,
definitely,
man.
yeah, absolutely.
You got I'm gonna describe Florida as having strange neighbors, man. You know what I
Very
mean?
strange. In Florida, you have all the neighbors are strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they think the same
Yeah.
thing about you. They're looking at you going, that guy's strange.
Yep. Absolutely.
Where in New York, I guess, it's funny. I was talking to, because I'm in here in Korea. I was talking to these two very nice Korean women with my wife. Not like that, you know what I mean? So it was me and my wife talking to these two nice Korean ladies. And they were asking me, because I guess one of them dated a Latino guy from the Air Force. And she was like, he was such a player. He was so smooth. He was a good liar. She's like, why are you like Latino men are like that? I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Genetics, I don't know. And then,
I know. Yeah.
And then she was asking me about like the races, like the different races. Because, here it's Korean, everyone kind of looks the same, you know what I mean? But in a country like ours, you got, like you said, the melting pot.
Yep.
She was like, what race is like the best? Like the guys, who's the best players or the smoothest talkers? And I told her that, look, growing up, like where we grew up at around Ridgewood, Queens, Brooklyn, Bushwick, around there, that it was such a melting pot. There was white guys, Italians, Polish, all this stuff, Puerto Rican, Dominican, blacks, Jamaicans, Haitians, just everything. That I told her that
everything.
Yeah, I told her that I didn't notice one that was different because we were all doing the same thing. Me, my guys on my clique, we all kind of dressed the same. We all kind of talked the same. We were all doing the same thing. So I didn't notice anything different. Like they probably noticed something different because they're standing from the outside, looking in. Right. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't really get it. But that's the thing that I think it's the beauty of our country and that people don't understand.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So for me growing up, man, and that's the thing about being Puerto Rican too. Like, look how dark you are. Look how light I am. We're blood. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah. I mean, I've got cousins one of my cousins is a ginger and like he's
everything,
half Puerto Rican and half white,
Yeah.
But you look at that boy and he just looks like just another little white boy.
Yeah.
Like he looks Polish actually,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I used to love when you guys first came over from Chicago, man. You and your sister next to each other, because nobody thought you guys were related.
Nope. Yeah, even between my sister and my brother, like they definitely look more related, but then I look like I'm related as well, but like maybe a cousin. But if you look at me and my mom and then like my grandpa, like I look like them.
Yeah.
Still, so it's like, I'm just a little tanner than them all.
A different shade, yeah.
Yeah, a little darker shade. I'm the cool one.
Yeah. So I want to end it with the last thing, because being biracial, like I said, I have that same type of thing. I think that people of multiple races view race differently, because I've had friends who were, just white or just Latino or whatever, and everyone has their own experiences with race.
Of course,
everyone have their sort of political ideologies. But when you're biracial, I know for me, because I grew up in a different time. I'm a lot older than you. I felt it a lot, because when I was with lighter skinned people, I was one of them. I was a Puerto Rican. But when I was with Puerto Rican people, it's like, oh, he's one of them. He's, you know what I mean? He's a white guy. So I just always had that issue. I don't know if you had. It sounds like you didn't have that same type of experience.
No, because again, I didn't come out of my bubble of being comfortable and being, what's the word I'm looking for? exposed to so many different cultures and people until I came to Florida. And then it was just like I was the guy that just didn't belong.
Yeah.
I was just always the outsider, you know, and that's my experience.
Do you feel that that's driven you in some kind of way, like giving you some sort of like motivation?
Of course,
Yeah.
I believe that everything that I do in life is to prove to myself that I can do what others think that I couldn't do. And it just drives me to be the best version of myself, better, stronger, faster, healthier, smarter, etc. You know.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. I think you're on the right path.
Thank you, man.
All right, man.
I'm
Thank you for
trying. I'm
coming on the
trying.
show. I
Of
appreciate it.
course. It was good talking to you, man.